Good afternoon. We are Team Hippo. I'm Alexis Palmer. We have with us Daniel Murdoch, Kayla Zimmerman, Shannon Price, and William Lammers. And today we will be presenting our healthcare analysis to you. Our initial research involved a focus group of 13 students, all between the ages of 18 to 21 years old. We conducted our research in a barn in order to keep a neutral environment to better our results. Once we conducted this research, we moved on to the questionnaire part, where we each asked 5 students of different ages, genders, and colleges about their healthcare experiences. Finally, we are here today to present to you our final data that we collected from over 187 students. Our general research questions were: what is the decision-making process when college students choose their own healthcare program? And also, how much do college students know about healthcare programs, Obamacare, and healthcare reforms? What is their attitude towards Obamacare versus reforms? To gain an understanding of college students' healthcare perceptions and behavior, the people we surveyed were college students between the ages of 18 and 26 years old, with the majority of participants being 21. We surveyed both males and females, with the majority being females by 55%, and the overall amount of respondents were in the senior class, and the minority fell within the freshman class.
Alexis just went over the general research questions, and now I'm going to talk a little bit about the questions we asked in the questionnaires. Based on the data from the questionnaires, we discovered that a majority of college students know very little about healthcare, which makes them less concerned about choosing a healthcare plan right now. We found that most participants are currently on their parents' healthcare plan and do not have to worry about healthcare until they're at least 26. Since they do not have to worry about choosing a healthcare plan until that age, it is not a huge concern for them. According to the graph, 33.7% of college students strongly disagree that they need to be concerned about choosing a healthcare plan right now, while only 3.2% strongly agree that it should be a concern. This just goes to show that choosing a healthcare plan is not a top priority or concern for college students. For choosing a healthcare plan, we found that a majority of college students are currently on their parents. From the questionnaire data, we discovered that around 70% of participants are on their parents' plan and only a small percentage have their own healthcare plans. From the focus groups, we found that most college students will be on their parents' plan until they are 26. When asked if they will choose a healthcare plan once they are no longer on their parents' plan, only around 50% of students agreed. This made us realize that the data could possibly be a little inaccurate since most people will have to choose a healthcare plan after they can no longer stay on their parents' plan. To try to figure out what college students will consider when they have to choose a healthcare plan, we asked if they plan on choosing the same insurer as their parents. From this, we found that almost 50% were neutral, but from the rest of the data, it is likely that most students will choose the same as their parents.
Influencers. Our definition of influencers is someone or something that influences the way that a person makes a decision about a certain topic. In this slide, the influencers are parents, friends, and online sources. In our graph about family influence, you can clearly see that the majority of respondents trust their family to help them choose a healthcare plan. In our second graph, the majority of respondents were neutral when it comes to trusting their personal online research about healthcare plans, with 4.3 strongly disagreeing with this topic. Finally, our third graph illustrates that almost 30% of respondents are neutral about asking their friends for healthcare advice, and 31% of respondents actually agree and trust their friends' advice about this kind of thing. In our next slide, we will be talking about each respondent's knowledge on healthcare plans.
Based off the data, we discovered that most college students do not know a lot about what kinds of plans exist for them to choose from. Only 5% of college students strongly agree that they know about the different kinds of healthcare programs that are offered. This just goes to show that college students do not have much knowledge on healthcare plans, which can explain why they are not very concerned about choosing a healthcare plan. 38% of participants said that they conduct research before choosing a healthcare plan due to the fact that they have little to no knowledge about the subject.
As Will mentioned, I will now be going over students' current knowledge of Obamacare. Out of the students surveyed, 61% felt that they had little to no knowledge of what Obamacare was and what it did. Many of the responses we collected said that they had heard of Obamacare but were unaware of the benefits it provided for those who had it. One student quoted above said, "I know general knowledge about it. I know the general coverage and I've read up on it a few times, but if I were to make any decision on it, I would probably have to do more research." Most students had similar responses while surveyed, and they said that in order to have a better opinion on the subject, they would need to conduct more research. Even those of us conducting the research agree with these statements. We all knew little about Obamacare before coming into this project, and we still feel that it is a topic that is heavily up for debate. Of those surveyed, we found it super interesting that even with the little knowledge people had about Obamacare, they were still able to distinguish whether or not they thought it was beneficial or not. Most of the students surveyed didn't feel that there was a need to reform or make any changes to Obamacare, while the majority was neutral on the topic. Overall, we were shocked to see that such a large percentage of people saw Obamacare in a positive light without having previous knowledge on the topic before being surveyed. Most of the students we surveyed did not have Obamacare as their healthcare plan, so 57% of respondents were more inclined to answer neutral since they didn't have a first-hand experience with this healthcare plan. More people disagreed that it was beneficial. Again, this is due to not experiencing Obamacare firsthand, but those who do fall under the plan said that they do believe in some ways it is beneficial but could use some reforms as well. It was harder to gauge whether Obamacare truly is beneficial to college students with the lack of knowledge on the topic.
Knowledge of healthcare reforms. The information collected shows that a large portion of college students do not keep up to date with the healthcare reforms. Some of the individuals even stated that they have zero knowledge on the matter. Of those asked, we discovered that majority wished they knew more and would like to learn more about the subject in the near future. Our conclusions. From conducting this research, we discovered that an immense amount of college students have little to no knowledge about healthcare. We also discovered that majority of the participants rely on their parents for healthcare-related matters. We concluded that since until they are 26, they will not really care to learn more about the subject until they reach that point in time.